If you are on my mailing list, you have probably seen all the excitement about Thrive Week. So, Thrive Week is something that I decided to create because I think too many of us have gone through our fertility journeys and created this sense of belief that we can never thrive again. We can never feel fulfilled again. We can never be the version of us that we used to be before infertility. And I spent a long time believing that about myself and believing that about my story when my 7-year journey through fertility treatments ended up with me not having a human child. And when I chose that adoption and egg donor were not the right option for me, I sat there wondering, is this as good as it's going to get? Are these questions that I have about my purpose in life, about the meaning that I can create in my life if I'm not a mom, if I have no legacy to leave behind, if I don't have a human child that I have given birth to? And I got very few resources. So if you follow me on social media or if you're in my mailing list and you get my love letters, you know that I am very much trying to make a difference in how our fertility clinics and how our medical practitioners are offering us resources when our road to motherhood ends and we are not a mom. I think that we are just a forgotten bunch of people that when we're no longer billable to the clinic, when we're no longer able to treat, that there is just this sense of like washing their hands of us as women and what it is that we really are possible, what is really possible for us to do in our future. So that is something that I'm extremely passionate about, which brings me to Thrive Week. And what is Thrive Week? So Thrive Week is a week full of opportunity for you to start looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself that you are ready to start this journey in a new way and that you've decided that you no longer want to feel as though you're less than because you're not a mom. You no longer want to feel marginalized or misunderstood because you didn't choose to adopt or you didn't choose to do an egg donor. And you decided that if you weren't able to have a biological child of your own, that that journey to motherhood has ceased for you. And that is okay. I know you're probably sick of people telling you that you can always adopt and have you thought about this and don't lose hope, all these things that people offer to us when we've decided that we are ready to move on to this new chapter. It's common that women feel like they're always having to create a rational reason why they didn't become a mom or that they're always having to explain. But imagine what it would feel like to thrive and feel fulfilled, even if you don't have the children you dreamed of. That is like something that to me felt so out of reach when my journey ended because I didn't hear anyone talk about life feeling good again and life feeling fulfilling again. And that is what we do in the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind. So I created the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind because when I was going through my journey, I felt so alone. I felt like there weren't any other women that I could connect with who had been on my journey. All of my friends who were lovely and beautiful and supportive ended up becoming moms, either through fostering, either through infertility, or naturally becoming moms. And I felt like there was nobody who really understood those pits in my stomach that I got when I went through the aisles of Target in the maternity section, or what it felt like to get an invite to a baby shower. And I felt like so violated that I had to create an excuse or felt as though like somebody should know better than to invite me to their baby shower. And I did a lot of this struggling alone. And I created the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind because I don't want more people to feel like they have to struggle alone. I don't want them to feel like they are the only one in the room who is sitting there alone and misunderstood. So the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind is a hand-selected group of women. We come together once a week for 12 weeks. I purposely leave it in a small group because the opportunity that I have seen through my many rounds of Thrive that I've now hosted and curated for women, I see that women really are wanting to get to know each other more on a personal level and not showing up in a Zoom room where there's 100 other women and they can actually like get to know each other's story and get to know each other one on one. When we're not in class, we have a group chat, and in that group chat, people share things that are tough for them during the week. They share things that went really well for them during the week. People reach out when they need advice from somebody else in the Thrive Mastermind and they say, "Hey, I have this thing coming up. What do you guys think? Or can I check in with you? Or what advice do you have for me?" Because I think it's so important that we, as women who are childless, not by choice, have a place where we can hear other women share a story that we resonate with. Because for so long, we've spent so many hours and so many years feeling as though nobody understood us. So during Thrive Week, I created this opportunity for, if you're on my mailing list, I am sure that you have seen all the multiple emails that have gone out this week. If you're not on my mailing list, drop me a DM, let me know. I'll get you added to the mailing list. But I'm giving you all these opportunities to start to say yes to you because I know how it feels to think like, yeah, that probably works for other people, but there's no way that I could ever heal from what it is that I'm feeling right now about my inability to become a mom. Or like, yeah, I bet it's great to meet other women who've been through infertility and feel connected to them. But like, what if they don't like me? What if I don't resonate with them? What if their story doesn't sound inclusive of my story? And I want to tell you that those are things that come up because we've spent a lot of time questioning ourselves and questioning our place in this world because we feel so disconnected from who we thought we were going to be or what we thought our life would be like. The Thrive After Infertility Mastermind is something that I take so much pride and so much love in my heart to create because I know what you need, because so many of us need that same thing. I know what I wanted when I finished my journey and I wasn't a mom. And so I do my best to create that with Thrive After Infertility. So the next class in Thrive After Infertility is starting in October. And the reason I chose October is that starting in October, we have some very kind of sticky things that might be coming up for us. So I think about Halloween, and many of us who aren't moms, but we wanted to be moms, feel as though Halloween can be a very hard time for us to navigate because we see these cute families, they're trick or treating. We see cute kids in costumes dressed up for Halloween. And many of us go to this point in our journey where we think, gosh, that's all I ever wanted. I wanted to have this cute little family that had a themed family dress up, and you see them walking down the streets together. And Halloween can be really hard. October is a really hard month for many. And then Thanksgiving comes up. So then we have opportunities to see family members and people that we haven't seen in a really long time. And they might ask us, like, hey, what's going on? Any baby news? How are things going? Like, why don't you have kids yet? Come on, your mom's waiting to become a grandmother. All these different things that come up at these family events. Maybe, if you don't have a family that lives nearby, maybe these are people that you only see in a short, span of time over the holidays. And you might have a lot of anxiousness getting ready for that. If you join the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind, what we do in Thrive is create those scenarios, talk through those scenarios, cheer each other on as we're at Thanksgiving and we have a group of people to text and say, oh my gosh, I am so proud of myself for how I handled that question. So Thanksgiving and the whole month of November as it leads up to the holidays can be a really rough time. And then let's talk about the holidays. Let's talk about how so many of us have a lot of sadness around Christmas. How come December, when we start to see all of the hoopla about Christmas, we start to think, oh my gosh, like all I ever wanted was to have this kid that I could help write a letter to Santa. All I really wanted was to dress my child up and have them sit on Santa's lap. So we have December becomes a really hard time because you might be thinking about all these family traditions that have been so close to your heart. And when you think about the fact that you don't have a child to create these family traditions with, it can seem really, really heavy. So in the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind, we work on it. We talk about ways that we can create our own tradition as women without children, things that we can do that feel good to us and feel like we're still in a place where we can feel connected to a holiday that we once dreamed we would come to with children. And we would have Christmas morning with presents to unwrap and a child waking up to a letter from Santa and all these things that seem really unavailable to us when our fertility journey ends and we don't end up becoming a mom. So that's exactly why I chose to do Thrive After Infertility starting in October, because it'll take us through the end of the year and you'll have this amazing support and this amazing community that is going to be curated for you. And you'll feel so connected to the women that are in the mastermind with you because we're growing through this together. And I feel so fortunate because every time I put together a group in Thrive After Infertility, I feel like I'm able to unleash another part of my soul and another part of my journey in a different way and connect with so many beautiful women in this infertility community that sometimes are overlooked. And maybe it feels like you're forgotten because you don't have kids and because you don't have something to add at the lunchroom table when you're with your colleagues or when you're out with your girlfriends who have kids and the conversation starts going all about children and kid stuff, and you just feel like you need to sit there idle. The Thrive After Infertility offers you this opportunity, and maybe it's the first opportunity you've had in a really long time to feel connected again. And it's so much greater when you feel connected to somebody who understands your story and has compassion for your story and isn't telling you stay positive and keep hoping and telling you it's too late, because all you want to do is start to create this new chapter in your life and to move forward with pride and with confidence as a woman who's childless and a woman who's not a mom. And I offer you that in the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind. So if you've been wondering what you can do to start feeling better, I hate to give you this spoiler alert, but sitting there waiting and thinking that time is going to get you through this, I don't know that I can tell you that there's enough time to heal all that we've been through. And certainly with time, things do get easier. But when you join the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind, we get to work with actually identifying not only what it is that feels like it's holding you back, but how to create a plan for yourself to truly feel aligned with who you are as a woman who's childless, not by choice, and a woman who's proud to tell her story, and a woman who can tell her story in the way that it makes her feel as though she is the champion in this life that seemed so different than you thought it would. So the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind is starting in October. If you haven't been on my mailing list, send me a DM or give a thumbs up or a heart to this message, and I will reach out to you and make sure that you're added so that you get more updates about Thrive, but also you get my love letters, which are absolutely lovely and truly straight from my heart as a woman who's childless, not by choice. And just consider that by the end of this year, in 12 short weeks, you could be on the path to feeling so much more in control of your life and feeling so much more in love with who you are going to become as a woman who's childless, not by choice, and to stop feeling as though you have to hide from who you've been and hide from your story. And I think when I realized for the first time that I could believe that my life had meaning and purpose and that I could thrive and feel fulfilled, even though I didn't have the children I dreamed of. That's when I started to see this life in this future that felt much more like I was so in so much more anticipation of, instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do that's going to fill the next 40 years of my, and how am I not going to worry about dying old and alone in a nursing home, and all these recycled thoughts that other people have given us about women who are childless. And when I realized that I could create my own definition for what it feels like to not have the children you always thought you would have, my life just got exponentially fuller, easier, happier. And there's so much more that's waiting for me because I said yes to this journey. And because I decided that through coaching and through connecting with women and through turning my story and this narrative that I've accepted from other people about being childless, that I could change that narrative. I never felt so much more at ease with my life as a woman who's childless by choice. And I want other women to know that that's available to them, because the clinics don't tell us this. The clinics haven't offered us resources. The clinics don't pair us with women who have been through our journey and actually have this life that feels abundant to them. So we've had to go out and find it for ourselves. And sadly, there's not enough women out there talking about how beautiful life can be if you don't have the children you dreamed of. So I hope that you consider joining us in this round of Thrive After Infertility. It is the most beautiful gift that you can give yourself. So as your family, as your spouse, as your friend, as people around you are like, what can I get you for Christmas? Consider like, maybe this is a gift that will never stop giving. And that's what I teach my students all the time. I tell them, once you join Thrive and once you learn the tools that I teach in the Thrive After Infertility Mastermind, the greatest part is these tools are with you for the rest of your life. I am not somebody who wants to get people hooked on continuing to hire me as their coach. If people want to continue on working with stuff or with me on stuff beyond the things that we cover in Thrive After Infertility, that's beautiful. But what my goal is with Thrive After Infertility is to give you the tools and teach you the tools that you can continue to implement in hundreds of ways in your life. And it'll continue to last you a lifetime. And that's the greatest gift that I can offer back to this community. I hope to see you in Thrive After Infertility. Thank you if you've been part of Thrive Week. And thank you for everyone who has been so receptive to the emails and the love letters this week. And don't forget, if you want to be part of that, sign up for the love letters. I'll make sure that I get you on the list right away. And if you want to join Thrive, more importantly, just say yes and believe that you are worth this journey that feels so much easier than it does today. So have a beautiful week. I love you. And remember, it is never too late to discover your meaning. I'll talk to you next week.